The hour of 7 p.m. having arrived, and a quorum of voters being present, it's my distinct pleasure to call the Spring 2020 Special Town Meeting to order. My name is Todd Johnson, and it's my privilege to serve as your moderator. These are unusual times due to the pandemic, but we'll do our best again tonight to make this town meeting a familiar experience, although with some extra precautions. Let me speak to a few of those now. Voters are strongly advised to either wear a mask or facial covering at town meeting. A supply of masks is available in the check-in area for anyone who needs one. Hand sanitizer has been placed at the entrance and the exit of the building. All areas have been suited for one-way traffic flow to avoid face-to-face encounters and maintain a 6-foot separation of voters and staff. Directional and spatial arrows have been taped to the floor or walls, as well as on certain seating areas to indicate 6-foot intervals. Microphones will be sanitized after each speaker. Efforts will be made to reduce crowding as the meeting adjourns. Trash recycling bins will be placed at exits to dispose of used PPE, handouts, or other materials. Socialization in the parking lot after the meeting is discouraged. Take note of the exits at the front, corners, and the back of the gym. Restrooms are located in the rear. Let the record show that a properly served and returned warrant is in possession. I'm going to ask all to please stand now while we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. It's in the center of the building. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome again to your special town meeting. I ask now that everyone silence your phones. I request that everyone up here to my left and right, out of respect for all of you, not to be texting during the meeting, and I ask that you not text them as well. As we begin our meeting, I want to take a moment to outline our ground rules. Town meeting is the legislative body for our community, where we work together to debate the merits of the articles within the warrant before you. Please refer to the glossary of terms at the back of your warrant. Because Tewksbury has an open town meeting, each registered voter is eligible to vote on fiscal issues, zoning changes, bylaw amendments, and other matters affecting the town as presented in the warrant. Visitors may attend the meeting and sit only in the reserved for visitors section. Members of the media may sit in the visitors section or at the press table. This meeting is being recorded. As we move through the articles, presenters on the articles will be allowed to speak first on the article before I open the floor to debate. A voter desiring to speak should approach the microphone before me, await recognition by me, and identify oneself by name and street address for the record. I ask members of all boards to also do the same. Each speaker is allowed up to 5 minutes to speak on an article. Please speak clearly into the microphone so all can hear you. I will let you know when you have 30 seconds left. When you hear me, it's your signal to wrap up your remarks. You may not speak a second time until all other attendees have spoken. Speakers may disagree with any official, with any other voter, volunteer, or any board. However, we have a strong tradition at Tewksbury of maintaining a respectful dialogue during town meeting. I'll do everything I can to ensure that each speaker is shown respect and that your questions get answered. I ask that all town meeting attendees kindly do the same. Residents refusing to conduct themselves in a manner befitting this body will be asked to cede the floor and potentially be escorted from the meeting. I hope I don't have to enforce that rule. Let's work together to address the issues before this body fairly and efficiently, and perhaps learn some things about our town and fellow residents in the process. I will accept a motion to move the question. However, I reserve the right to make sure we've had at least some dialogue about the motion. All questions on the floor are to be directed to the moderator. In Tewksbury, we have a tradition of not requiring a second to any motion, as we presume that the moderator seconds all motions. If you are amending an article, we will take action and vote on the amendment first. Amendments must be presented to the town clerk in writing. If the amendment passes, it will then become part of the main motion and we will discuss it. If the amendment does not pass, then we go back to the main motion as it is written in the warrant. Residents were previously mailed a warrant. When you came in tonight, you were offered the warrant again with the articles we'll be discussing tonight, a handout with Finance Committee recommendations, another with Planning Board recommendations, and a supplemental handout from the town manager with detailed explanations for a number of articles and funds. Scrivener's errors, if any, are also noted in that document. Please be sure your voter ribbon is showing so that counters can see it when we take standing counts. I'd ask right now that counters please go to your sections. And I ask, ladies and gentlemen, that you please take note of the counter for your section. When we do a standing count, it's important that no one be standing in the gym, and there will be no entering or exiting the gym while the vote is in process unless there's an emergency. It's critical that you pay attention to your counter and sit down once counted. Your counter will nod at you when you are counted. Thank you. If there's anyone new to town meeting here tonight, we welcome you to town meeting and hope that you enjoy this process. For all of you that come faithfully, I thank you for your continued presence this evening, especially in these unusual times, and your commitment to our community. Let me introduce Mr. Rob Kozmersky, the chairman of the Finance Committee. The sole job of the Finance Committee is to advise town meeting. Mr. Kozmersky will present motions on most articles, except where a petitioner or another board is the appropriate party. Mr. Kozmersky, may I have a motion to waive the reading of the articles?
So moved, Mr. Moderator.
All those in favor of the waiving of the articles, the reading of the articles, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. I also want to speak about guests. Do we have anyone in the gymnasium who's not a registered voter? Non-voters are not allowed to address the meeting without prior consent. Typically, we hear from non-voters who are employees, volunteers, or advisors to the town. Mr. Kozmersky, may I have a motion to permit the following persons to address the meeting? Non-voter appointed members of any town or regional committees or task forces, non-voter employees of the town of Tewksbury, including Tewksbury Public Schools and Town Council.
Mr. Moderator, I move to allow certain anticipated non-residents to speak on issues including Assistant Town Manager Steve Sadwick, Fire Chief Mike Hazel, Superintendent of Schools Chris Malone, School Business Manager David Libby, DPW Superintendent Brian Gilbert, Town Engineer Kevin Hardiman, Town Council Kevin Feely, and others, some of whom may be asked to answer resident questions.
Is there any debate? Seeing none, I ask all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying no. The ayes have it. If there are any other non-voters with us tonight, they may only speak upon further motion and consent of the meeting. We'll now move to Article 1 of Special Town Meeting Warrant. Mr. Kozmersky, do you have a motion?
The Finance Committee moves to adopt Article 1, transfer $126,274 for the purpose of the article.
Is there any discussion? I see none. I'll ask all those in favor of Article 1, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by saying no. It's a unanimous vote. The next two articles involve the use of stabilization funds. As such, they require a 2/3 vote on each of the next two articles. Article 2. Mr. Kazmersky, do you have a motion?
The Finance Committee moves to adopt Article 2, reallocate $220,000 for the purpose of the article.
Is there discussion?
Morning, Gary, 63 McDonald. $6 billion is the amount that we're projecting for Massachusetts state shortfall in the budget. The true amount won't be known until mid-July when the tax receipts start coming in. Chapter 70 funding for the next fiscal year is likely to be flat, if not down. And many towns have already started laying off teachers. Chicopee just sent out 100 layoff notices to school employees. When I see $220,000, I see possibly 3 teachers. I see Chromebooks for children who might have to continue to learn from home in the fall, or protective equipment and what we need to get our kids back to school in some sort of a normal fashion. So it's also unclear whether sports will even be able to go on in the fall. So that doesn't seem like a wise use right now of $220,000. So I would make a motion for indefinite postponement.
Thank you. Is there other discussion? Mr. Town Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and I would ask that indefinite postponement be defeated. This article is needed to ensure that fall sports takes place without any issues. As many of you know, we're building a new elementary school, and that elementary school is being built on the location of the athletic field used for football practice and football home games. Without that field, we need to find a home for the football team, which we plan to have at the high school. But in order to accommodate all sports, not just football, but all sports at the high school, we need to have temporary lights to allow for practices and games. We need to have temporary locker rooms for the football team because the locker rooms at the high school can't accommodate them. And we would like to have a press box or a multimedia platform to not just announce games, but to broadcast games over local cable television, especially if people can't get to the games. We'd like to have those games broadcast on local cable television. In regard to the issue of state funding and state shortfalls and what's coming ahead, there is no doubt we're going to have issues with finances, both nationally, statewide, and locally. But I believe within the budget that we passed the other night, we have contingencies within that budget to adjust. We have the stabilization fund, which actually we'll be adding to in the third article tonight. We will have other reserves to pull from to get us through not only in the next fiscal year, but into the future. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but I think this time around, compared to 10 years ago when we had our financial problems, we're better well situated to address them. But the bottom line is we're going to need to do something with athletics in the fall. There's no doubt about it. It's a commitment we made when we built the new school, and this article simply allows us to abide by that commitment. So I'd ask that indefinite postponement not pass and that this article move forward and be approved tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Montori, is there an amendment to this article? I want to offer the amendment.
And the handout under the on the front page, first page of the handout, there is an amendment to Article 2. And Within the first page, you'll see under Article 2, under the bold lettering, that wording will be added. We're adding the words purchase and lease, and we're deleting permanent press box, and in its place inserting multimedia platform. And the reason for that, and this will actually be a less costly item, when we were going through building a permanent press box at the field for all sports, we found out that we needed to provide handicap access to that press box. We also found out that the lead time to get steel and to build a press box was not going to be in time for the fall season. The cost of the press box, which we had originally priced at $100,000, was coming in $150,000 to $200,000. So we decided to not build a permanent press box, but instead build either a temporary area to film sports or to lease or purchase a multimedia platform that could be used not only for fall sports but for other sports in the spring. So it's a much reduced cost to this issue, and it's again it came about after we priced out a permanent press box. So that's the reason for the amendment.
Is there any debate on the amendment? So I will take a vote on the amendment first. The amendment, as the town manager described, is to change the language in the article to read, to see if the town will vote to reallocate $220,000 from the original appropriation of $850,000 as approved at the May 1st, 2017 annual town meeting, Article 10, for the purpose of purchasing temporary locker rooms, temporary field lights, and to purchase, lease, or construct a multimedia platform for all activities at the Tewksbury Memorial High School or take any action relative thereto. Any further discussion on that? If not, I will ask for a vote on the amendment itself. All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying no. The amendment is adopted. Mr. Kuzmirsky, do you have a motion on the article as amended?
The Finance Committee moves to adopt Article 2 as amended, reallocate $220,000 for the purpose of the article.
Is there any further debate on the article as amended? If not, we have a motion for indefinite postponement. Indefinite postponement is a negative motion. It's a motion to defeat the article. If you wish to defeat the article, vote yes. If you wish to vote on the adoption of the article, vote no. All those in favor of indefinite postponement, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, signify by saying no. No. Noes have it. Indefinite postponement fails. On the article as amended, all those in favor, please signify, excuse me, I'm going to have to take a standing count because this is a 2/3 vote. All those in favor of the article as amended, please rise. Counters, would you mind counting? Okay, all those opposed, please rise. Counters, if you'd please count again. Okay, so there were 55 votes in favor, 15 opposed. The vote required was 46. The article is adopted. Article 3, Mr. Kuzmersky, do you have a motion?
The Finance Committee moves to adopt Article 3, transfer $630,000 for the purpose of the article.
Is there any discussion about Article 3? I see people in the hall. Anyone coming to the podium? Nope. Thank you. Okay, this is a 2/3 vote as well. Transfer to stabilization fund. I will take a standing count. I ask all those in favor of Article 3 to please rise. Counters, please count. I'd ask all those opposed to please rise. Counters, would you just count? Okay, there were 61 votes in favor, 4 opposed. 2/3 vote requirement was 43. Article 3 is adopted. Article 4, Mr. Kuzmersky.
The Finance Committee moves to adopt Article 4, transfer $373,640 from free cash for the purpose of the article.
Is there any discussion? Seeing no one rising, I'll ask all those in favor of Article 4 to please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's a unanimous vote. Article 5, Mr. Kuzmersky.
The Finance Committee moves to adopt Article 5, transfer $226,396 from free cash for the purpose of the article.
Is there any discussion on Article 5? Seeing no one rising, I'll ask all those in favor of Article 5 to please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's a unanimous vote. Article 6, Mr. Kuzmersky.
Finance Committee moves to adopt Article 6, transfer $7,962.41 for the purpose of the article.
Is there any discussion? This article requires a 9/10 vote as it's related to an unpaid bill from a previous year. I'll take the vote in reverse. I ask all those opposed to Article 6 to please rise. I see no one rising. I ask all those in favor of Article 6 to please rise. I see a unanimous vote. All those in favor, excuse me, sorry. Mr. Kuzmersky, with all business of special town meeting having been completed, I ask now for a motion to adjourn special town meeting sine die.
So moved, Mr. Moderator.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. We'll resume annual town meeting, Section 3 at 7:30.